I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. Who else is a more patriotic American than these fine folks? I mean, other than maybe Colonel Sanders, because his chicken is tinger flicking good. Or finger sticking good. I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. They're definitely better than that Bernie Sanders guy. Can you believe I beat that guy in an election? I am Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. As the President of America, I just want to say Jim Jar are cool cats. I am Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. Anyways, I gotta go. I have to go to deliver some tanks or something to that President Zelensky guy. Peace out, hooliganies.
Good morning or afternoon, you guys. Hope you all are doing well. So, crazy thing, I was like, I think yesterday I was showing, I showed my lighter yesterday and I was like, oh, it's the Russian flag. I was like thinking it was so funny. I had a Russian flag lighter. And my dumbass realized that my husband got me the Chinese flag lighter, not the Russian flag lighter. So I have the wrong lighter. So I was really upset. I feel like a dumbass. I was like, Jimmy, how can you not know the difference between the Russian flag and the Chinese flag when you see it? Like, you're dumb. And I think I was just so excited to get a Russian lighter that I didn't even think that it was like the wrong flag lighter. So yeah, welcome to my life. That was my dumb moment for the day. I almost threw it away. I was like, I don't want a Chinese flag lighter. I want a Russian flag lighter. But I didn't throw it away because I need lighters. So yeah. Good morning, Brandy. Good morning, Desert. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, Jason Bardo. Thanks for stopping by. Man, I felt like such a dumbass this morning when I saw that. I was like, Jimmy, you're really dumb. Like, you're dumb. You can't tell between the Chinese flag and the Russian flag. Come on now. Oh, I felt so stupid. But whatever. I got a Chinese flag lighter now, so instead of a Russian flag lighter. All right, so I got a couple things, quite a few things we can talk about today. Nothing really has been happening since yesterday. Just dealing with life pretty much. Don't feel like talking about a lot of it. So the Soviet Union flag was similar to the Chinese. That's what I was thinking. So that's what I thought, because I was like thinking that it was the right flag, maybe because of the Soviet. See, now you're going to make me want to Google the Soviet Union flag, because man, I was like super, super mad, but I thought it was close. Yeah, you're right. Because, yeah, like the USSR flag has, see, now that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the red lighter with the sickle on it. I was like super stoked. So, yeah, you're right. I think I messed up and my husband messed up. I didn't even realize it. So, yeah, you're very, very right. The USSR Soviet Union flag was what I was wanting. So I know. I saw the Russian flag and I was like, but it's just red, white, and blue striped. I didn't want an American flag lighter at all. So I guess that's kind of nice that he got the Chinese one instead, because it's more closer to what I would prefer. So North Korean flag hot take. Hey D, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. So I got quite a few things that we can talk about today. Russian flag and Chinese flag are nice, though. Yeah, they're not too bad. I don't mind them. The USSR one and the Chinese one, I really like it. It's not too bad. I like the red in it, and the red and the yellow kind of like really are cool together. So I still have it. I didn't get rid of it. I still have the lighter. I was just really upset with myself that I messed up on it. I was like, come on, Jimmy, you should know this stuff better than that. Someone should go to the gulags for this. I know. Send me to the gulags. If this is torture, chain me to the wall. All right. So I got, like I said, I have quite a few things we can talk about today. Some random stuff. I cannot wait until later on. I really, really, really want to get into the leaked docs, the Ukrainian NATO leaked docs that are out. So I'm really excited about talking about that today. So I got quite a few videos that we're going to be watching about that. I know there's a really pretty decent sized video that we're going to be watching, but I think that Glenn Greenwald did a really good job of explaining the history and like setting precedents first before he gets into this, leaked docs and things like that. But first, hey, Brick, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. First, I want to show, because, I'm a Californian, and hearing the rumor mill going around that Gavin Newsom might be running for president, I just want to get into the nitty gritty and start ranting about what this guy is saying. He's really just really full of himself. He's pretty much just caring about what's going on in Alabama instead of, like we talk about pretty much in every day on this goddamn show now, it seems, is, worrying about what's going on in other places instead of worrying about what's going on in your own area. So I thought this was really fun and funny to watch. I literally just found this like 10 minutes ago before I got on here, and I was like, you son of a bitch, Mr. Gavin Newsom. People are like in the comment sections saying that this guy should be running for president. And it's just like, bro, you're sitting here worried about what's going on in Alabama instead of worrying about what's going on in your own streets right now. So I definitely want to really start hammering down on his downfalls when it comes to how he's running this state right now while he's talking about what he's talking about in this video. So this guy says that Gavin Newsom called out the Republicans for stripping away American rights, and that everybody sees this clip, blah, 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 just toting how amazing Gavin Newsom is. And just so you guys know, Gavin Newsom used to be married to the woman who's dating one of the Trump boys right now. She's that Hispanic lady that was at the Republican something for Trump, and she went out there yeah, all crazy looking, and everybody thought that she looked like the crazy witch from Power Rangers. It was great. That's his ex-wife. That's Gavin Newsom's ex-wife. So just so you guys know. You will judge me for being Californian. All right, I'll take it.
Next in Arkansas.
Here, let's start it over again.
There's something deep and serious that's happening across this country. All the progress the last half century is being rolled back in these states in real time. In just the last few years, I don't think people fully understand the rights regression, individual liberties, on civil rights, on voting rights.
What is going on? My phone is... My phone just started playing things.
What Donald Trump called his arraignment this week. When he became the
Yo, I have to restart my phone. That's crazy. It just started randomly playing Democracy Now. I got a bug or something. Somebody hacked into my phone. I don't know. That was weird.
Right.
Okay, sorry about that.
Gerrymandering that's happening out here.
Let's start that over.
People fully understand the rights regression, individual liberties, on civil rights, on voting rights, on the gerrymandering that's happening out here. On just
the gerrymandering that's not happening out here in California. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, she's dating Donald Trump Jr. That's this guy's ex-wife. Just so you guys know, there's this Trump-esque picture with her all over the internet. Here, let me see if I can present. Hold on. I'm just going to pull up a new tab and we'll look at, oops, shit. And we'll look at it. So, Gavin Newsom, ex-wife. Okay. Yeah, Kimberly, whatever her name is. Hold on. And then we'll paste this in here. Now, where is that picture? There it is. So yeah, this right here is Gavin Newsom and her back in the day. Oh, wait, hold on. Because of course it wants to pop out a new thing. So here, that's Gavin Newsom and his ex-wife when they were together. Isn't this so Trumpy? Like, look at all like the opulence and the, oh, it's so pretty. Everything is so like this dresser right here and the carpet. Everything is just so opulent. And this is like so sprawl on Ann Getty's rug in San Francisco in 2004 for a photo with the Harper's Bazaar. So yeah, that's them when they were together. So I'm just letting you know, like very Trumpian, but still he's a Democrat. And so this guy is like legit running for, I mean, I don't know legitly, but it seems like everybody's saying that he's going to be running for president. He hasn't said anything yet, but yeah, it's crazy. And then he wants to sit there and talk about like, you know, what do you call it? Like gerrymandering and shit. But man, like, okay, here, let me, because I don't want to show off like where I am per se. Okay. So this is really, really funny talking about, gerrymandering and shit. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me, California districts. Okay. You want to talk about gerrymandering? He says that, how horrible like Alabama and these middle, like, Bible Belt countries are gerrymandered and stuff. But I mean, look at the picture of the districts here in California. Like, come on now. You can't sit here and tell me that this is not gerrymandering. Like, look at how little the districts are over here, how gigantic. So like, this is where I live right here in this district right here. But it's like nuts to me, like how big this one is, how big this one is, like how, like what's the point of having this little extra arm up here? Like what's the point of having this little, orange spot over here, but have the green over here? Like it's just super gerrymandered. I mean, I know that there are places like Tennessee. Tennessee is super gerrymandered. I've seen some really crazy states that have some really bad gerrymandering problems where the district lines are just drawn in some weird ass ways so that these certain politicians can keep their districts in a Republican held area or a democratically held area. So that way they'll always win. Exactly, Robert. He should fix the mess here in California. So right, yes, gulags are bad, dry humor, yes. I don't know who will bring on the gulags, the people involved in the Brett Weinstein's Evergreen. What is Gavin's Pelosi's? Well, Gavin Newsom is our governor, and Nancy Pelosi is a senator. So I don't think you can see. I don't think you can see my cursor. There you can. Okay. So like down here in this little area right here, if you look, I don't know. Let me see if I can bring it. Here we go. Can I move it over? Yes, I can. No. Can I move it over? Yes, I can. Okay. So, oh man, of course it's not going to make it any bigger. So like, I think it's like right here in this tiny little section right here, that is Nancy Pelosi's area. So she's a senator of this little district right here in San Francisco. Gavin Newsom is the governor, whole statewide. That's the difference between them, but they do have a connection. I mean, they're both Democrats. So that technically would be their connection, is they're Democrats in the same state. She's bigger, like your senator, she's congressional. So this is her congressional district. Sorry. Nancy Pelosi is a congresswoman, not a senator. So they have, like, he's way higher in the state than her. I mean, he would have more say when it comes to California than she would. But she would have more power in her local area. Plus she goes out to the White House, out to Washington a lot. Gavin Newsom pretty much just travels all over wherever he wants to go. So yeah, right. Trump probably won, y'all. Dade County in Florida, totally gerrymandered. Yeah. And that's what he's saying. He's like worried about Alabama, how all these other states are, super gerrymandered, which they are. Every state has a gerrymandering problem. but it's so funny how he sits there and talks about how, that area that he's worried about is gerrymandered, but he doesn't, talk about in his own area how bad it's gerrymandering. So we'll finish watching what he has to say, because I still have some things. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. Thought they were related. I don't think they're related. Newsom and Pelosi? Now you're going to make me Google it. Hold on. Newsom, Pelosi related. What kind of conspiracy theory shit are you out here reading? Newsom is, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so Newsom is the second cousin twice removed of Joanna Newsom. Newsom's aunt was married to Newsom's aunt was married to Ron Pelosi, the brother-in-law of then Speaker of the House of Representative Nancy. His father was an advocate for otters, and the family once had one as a pet. Okay, so Newsom is the second cousin twice removed from Joanna Newsom. And then also, so yes, his relationship to Nancy Pelosi is that his aunt was married to Nancy Pelosi's brother-in-law, so it'd have to be her husband's brother. So yes, there is a connection. You are correct in a way, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, if that's his aunt married to Nancy Pelosi's brother-in-law, then definitely I'm pretty sure Gavin Newsom goes to like the holiday stuff, because if you're a grown up and you're close with your aunt, then yeah, I don't know. I mean, I sometimes still see one of my aunts at the holidays, but that's it. I'm not sure. It depends. Rich people live different lives than us normal plebs. So that's a good question. But yeah, you're right. There is a relation there. Not like Pelosi's not doing anything to help herself either, too, because her daughter is Nancy Pelosi's daughter is already a super delegate for the state of California. When it comes to voting. And I'm pretty sure I recently heard Nancy Pelosi say that she wants her daughter to take her spot when she leaves. So we'll see. That whole nepotism stuff. We gotta love to hear it. But yeah, you're right. He is definitely related. So in a way. All right, they go to the same Illuminati meetings, right? Yeah, you thought they were related. You're right. You're absolutely right, Desert. Thank you for that. They are. One of the biggest problems here in California is the increasing homelessness. Yeah, I'm definitely getting there for sure. For sure. Let's watch this video and we'll get there.
The assault on the African-American community, the assault on the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and trans community. The number one issue of the day seems to be getting rid of the word Latinx in Arkansas. And number two, getting rid of drag shows. It's a serious moment in American history. And yet we're so consumed respectfully by the spectacles in Washington that I, as an American, feel compelled as a governor to call that out and expose some of that in a more systemic way. And forgive me for being intense about this, but everything I have taken for granted in my life in the last half century in terms of rights expansion, I didn't even bring up abortion and contraception, all of that is in peril at this moment. And my kids, if I care about my kids, I sure as hell better care about what's going on in Alabama.
He's got to worry about what's going on in Alabama, even though he's the governor of a state where everything is still legal here. I understand worrying about another state, but when it comes to like, yeah, okay, you want to worry about your kids and the future of your kids, and you're saying that people of color in the LGBTQ community is the ones that are, getting bogged down and, forgotten about and stuff. But here, this is where I wanted to get with you. You were right here on point with me, mister. Okay. I want to know how do I turn off my location? I don't know how to turn off my location, y'all. Okay. I'm just going to have to try to do it in a way where none of y'all can see where I live. Okay. So here's Los Angeles County right here. All right. Even like if you scroll back, you could see there's Los Angeles. All right. So if you look at Los Angeles, all right, so here's the bottom of Los Angeles. This is where pretty much Gavin Newsom like hangs around the most. So, if you go out here you see up here at top, it says Lancaster, California, Roseman, California. So Lancaster to right about here where this yellow line is, that's the tippy top north of Los Angeles County, okay? It goes all the way around, all the way down, like all down over here. Like it just takes up like all over this mountain. Like this whole area to here is just pretty much this whole entire map right here, except for like to the right a little bit. And this tippy top is Los Angeles County. Okay. So you want to talk about how your own people are treated, not even bringing up the homelessness problem, which, I mean, if you just Google San Francisco streets homeless, Los Angeles streets homeless, you're going to see tons of pictures. You can even YouTube this stuff. I know of at least 2 guys on YouTube that have a tremendous amount of following and a tremendous amount of views just because they go and walk on the streets of Los Angeles, Santa Monica, Venice every day and talk to these people. All right. So I just want you to know, okay, this is how certain people get treated in here in California, though. Okay. When it comes to people of color, poor people, blah, blah, blah. So Los Angeles County has this huge jail. All right. It's called the Los Angeles County Jail. Well, now in the last, I guess in 10 years ago, women's facility got moved over to a place called Linwood, which is the town. That's the city. It's called Linwood. It's in Los Angeles County. It's like just north or just south of Los Angeles. Okay. And men get sent to a place called the Twin Towers, which is right down in Los Angeles, like right down in the city. Okay. So if you get put in jail in this entire area, okay, you get put in jail down here in the Los Angeles area, in the Los Angeles city. Now, if you're only doing something stupid like a drug charge or, car accident or whatever, something dumb, all right, you get released. If you have no way to get home or to get out, they send you on a train. There is a train from Los Angeles, all right, all the way up here to Lancaster. That's where the train ends. Now, if you live out here in Lancaster, you can take the train down to Los Angeles. So it begins there for you. But if you're down in Los Angeles, this is where it ends, is Lancaster. When you get released from jail, and if you don't have a ride or if you don't have a way to get home, they will give you a one-way ticket. And the one-way ticket goes all the way up to Lancaster. And this is where they tell you to go. Not only this, but this area right here, the end of, we call it Lancaster, we call it the end of the line, is where they like to send any of the really bad prisoner releases to. So let's say you're a registered sex offender. There is a street here in Lancaster called Beach. And there's about, I'd say 10 hotels there that will take those people in and give them a place to live. And they're right there. So Lancaster's the end of the line. So you're telling me, Gavin Newsom, that you're worried about how the people are treated out in Alabama when you know for a fact when regular people, even homeless people, because there are people, I remember when I was in jail during Christmas time, there were at least in the girls section in my area, 15 girls that were homeless that got arrested on a minor charge on purpose just so they can have a warm, nice meal on Christmas Day. Okay. So some of these people are just homeless, just looking for a meal. All right. And then they get released and they get this one-way, you either get released right there on the street or you take this train and you can, stop on the way, but end of the line, Lancaster, California. That's pretty much. So now Lancaster, California has turned into, from the 90s where it was this small, quiet desert town, with people, everybody knows everybody, to now, where Los Angeles likes to throw all their leftovers. And now it's gotten even worse to the point where Kevin McCarthy, our new Speaker of the House, a majority Speaker of the House, who is the congressman for Bakersfield, all right, which is right there. If you guys look, so there's Lancaster, there's Los Angeles down there. Here's Bakersfield. It's literally the county right above Los Angeles County. It's called Kern County. So here's Edwards Air Force Base. All right, here's Bakersfield. There's like this huge freeway of nothing, just little towns, you know. Then there's Mojave, and then there's this place called Cal City. Cal City is pretty much practically nothing. It's a desert town. It's got a bunch of houses, but it has one main road. That's it. Just one main road, maybe a couple of stoplights. It's a desert town. Nobody really lives there. And this is where Bakersfield people, Kevin McCarthy, likes to send his people. So in California, we try to make it look like we're this liberal state where we take care of our own people, and how horrible these red states are taking care of their people compared to us. But you take away just the homeless, because we've seen it. You don't have to show, I don't have to show you guys. We've all seen how bad homelessness is out here in the Los Angeles, in San Francisco, all over California. But the way that they treat the people who, most of these people are homeless. Some of them are just minor charges, just, trying to get by. It's that revolving door of having, in California, we call it the revolving door, because once you get sent to jail for one time, these cops are so vicious that they just keep putting you back in for no goddamn reason. Like, man, violating probation out here is so easy. It's ridiculous. And then they send you to these places. They're like, here, we don't want you. We're going to send you off to these other places where nobody else is at, so that way our city looks like it's prospering and it's progressing and it's great. And people not realizing that you just go a little bit outside of the city in the same county, and this is where you're going to find the people that are thrown away, the leftovers. So, and they're right next to each other. I mean, here, that line right here, that's the cutoff line from LA County to Kern County. This is where LA County throws their people. This is where Kern County throws their people. It's this desert. If you ever look in California and you see this triangle right here in California, in Southern California, that's where Mojave, Cal City, Roseman, Lancaster, Palmdale, that's where all of those are, where the throwaway people get put. And that's how California treats its people. So you can't sit here and tell me, Gavin Newsom, that you're worried about how people are being treated, people of color, poor people, all that stuff are being treated in Alabama, trying to prepare your run for presidency, when this is your own state. This is my hometown. This is where I grew up. I have personally seen stuff that this stuff happen. That's why I'm able to speak about it, is because I've seen this. I've seen this happen firsthand. I've watched it. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the re-education center now. Yeah, Google Skid Row, which is a lot of homeless people. I mean, it's bad. I look. I'm in Google Maps, okay? Here's Skid Row right here. Let's go. All right? I'm just Google mapping this. All right? I'm not even finding pictures where people are looking for it, all right? And taking pictures. This is just the Google Maps area, all right? So hold on. Let's look. A park. A park sounds great, right? Parks always are great. Let's go Google Map this right there. Well, I see some beds. There they are. Look at that. We found the tents. And it's a park. That's all I did. I just went to Google Maps. I just clicked on a random spot I thought was great, a park, where kids usually would go and stuff. And this is what I see. People being forgotten about in downtown LA. This is it. This is how people have to live. And I don't hate on them for it. I feel bad for them because I know people out here. And that's what sucks. You can literally go anywhere you want. There, I just clicked on another little random here. Yeah, I clicked on another little random street down here in this little Google Map thing. And there's, people living here too, right there. More people. You can literally go anywhere in Los Angeles and find homeless. And it's everywhere. And it's so sad. See? Gavin Newsom addresses the California recall parody. Yeah. Are you my friend on Twitter? Can you send that to me? That would be awesome. I'd like to see that. Nice little funny. Sacramento County has 9,281 homeless people, including at Capitol Park, which is on the same property as the state capitol. There you go. Sacramento is, not too far from San Francisco. So, I mean, if you go up here, you look. So there's San Francisco. There's Nancy Pelosi's little area right here. Sacramento is like right over here. It's right next to it. So yeah, this is the city, right? All this right here is city that has their leftovers, the people that they forgot about, and up here is where all the rich people live. Yeah. And down here is where all the rich people live. Yeah. But down here in the cities, this is where everybody gets forgotten about for sure. I mean, you got Modesto. Oh, there's Sacramento right there. Okay, so yeah. So you got San Francisco and then you got Sacramento. This is where, they forget about a lot of their people. I mean, I'm pretty sure Sacramento probably sends their people down to like Modesto and stuff. So, because there's like some desert towns out here that are like, not very populated. And I know that like I've had some family members that live up in these areas that were low income. And yeah, there's some certain areas down here that are, definitely people are getting left over and forgotten about and sent over there as well. And that's what they do. If you're poor, they send you to poor areas so that way their area looks like it's prospering and they can say that they're a success. Like Gavin Newsom is going around saying that, California is a success, but this is what they do to them. Whether you're homeless, whether you're getting out of jail, whether, anything, whatever. If you're not rich and an investor, this is what they do to you. You just get thrown into these like outer areas away from towns outside of the main cities to make it look a little bit more populated. So that way it looks like, California is succeeding because, but people are filling up the streets of these cities now too. So, and people are seeing it. So I'm hoping, something actually gets done about it. It's crazy. Yeah, they do a lot of homeless sweeps and they do a lot of homeless sweeps in LA as well too. Like every time they have something, what was it right before? It was like an award show, some kind of an award show about a month or two ago out here. It was either like the Grammys or the Emmys, or I don't even know what it was, but it was down in LA and nobody knew about it except for us out here because, we all saw that it was going on. They did a street sweep of that area of all the homeless, like blocks, like 4-block radius, and just moved all the homeless people out of their homes right there, like their little encampments, and moved them away from it. So that way they can do the whole red carpet event and blah, 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 whatever it is for the award show for the famous people. So they do that all the time. They'll do homeless sweeps all the time. And what's crazy is like, how can you even say that these sweeps are, you're like illegalizing homelessness, which isn't even these people's faults. Like, I'm pretty sure they would, most of them would love to live in a home, and you're criminalizing it. And what's crazy is like, people are okay with it. Like, to me, when I see that they do the homeless sweeps and they move the people out and like they throw their stuff away, it reminds me of like a sweep in a jail when you're in jail and the cops get to come and like raid your room and toss it up and do whatever they want. It feels like the same thing, but these people are not even in jail. They're like free. They're just homeless. So we kind of treat our homeless as if they were prisoners out here, and their stuff means nothing. And every little thing that they have to hold on to in that tent or in their basket, means everything to them. Cops don't care, oh, rich people are coming into town, celebrities are coming to walk on the red carpet. We need to move these people out of their homes and throw their stuff away because they won't move. There was people that were like, oh, no, we're not moving. Like, this is I live here. Like, how dare you try to move? And they just threw their stuff away in the dumpster. Like, that's jail stuff. That's prison stuff. You just toss that person up for real. It's so fucked. I fucking hate it. It's gross. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today really quick. I'm done. Bye. 30 minutes, I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that seriously though, it pissed me off to see that. Like the gerrymandering and the way that he just doesn't care about his own place, but then like such a big old hoopla about, other states, but doesn't care what's going on in his own state. It's crazy. It's gross. It's absolutely disgusting. So anyways, I just thought I would throw that out there since, I'm a Californian and might as well. So you guys, oh man, this is so fucking disgusting. Okay. I cannot believe this is actually like a thing. I can't believe this guy got away with this too. So it's so gross. It's so gross. So the Dalai Lama this week, I don't know. I guess he was like people were coming to see him, I guess, because, he's like super special and stuff. And some kid went up to him and he did some really gross stuff. Man, I'm hoping this video, I don't think this video is going to show the actual footage of it. I'm really hoping not. But it did talk. This guy right here at the end, when we watch it, the things that he's saying, like, trying to excuse the Dalai Lama for doing this. It's just so gross to me, like how these old religious people are getting away with nasty, disgusting things with kids. And nobody even really talks about it. But like, a drag show happens and, that's it. But, the Dalai Lama can sit here and tell a kid to suck his tongue. Like at first he like lifted up his face and like gave him a kiss and then giggled a little bit. And then he stuck out his tongue and he told the kid to suck his tongue. And people around him laughed. And then he like laughed too. It was gross. It's so gross. Yes, absolutely. I've seen it. It's horrible. It's so sad. Another gem YouTube title. I drove around California for a month. It was disaster. 6 days ago, 30 minutes long. Both gems are actual searchable titles. Okay. He drives around the country filming. Now you're making me interested to see. I drove around California for a month. It was disaster. Nick Johnson. I drove around California for a month. Let's see. This one, 6 days ago, got 1 million views. Is he gonna copyright strike me if I watch this? Oh, look at all the homeless. That shit makes me so sad.
Drove up and down the state to capture how this place has changed. I saw devastating homelessness, amazing ocean views, and some fascinating communities in the desert. California has a lot to love, but it's troubled in ways.
Fascinating. He said fascinating communities in the desert. I love my hometown. I really do. I promise.
It's like no other state. It's been said that as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. I think you'd agree that a lot of the stuff I captured is troubling if this is indeed.
That's the kind of shit that I see. I swear to God, if I go down to Hollywood Boulevard, you just see this homeless dude come, trying to find food and stuff out of the cans, out of the trash can. Well, like these douchebags come out with like this 3-wheeled new ass vehicle that probably costs like $100,000 and shit. Man, this right here, that's, if you could imagine a perfect picture of California, that's it right there. That is it.
Our country's future. Here's an unedited view of some of the footage I captured on the trip.
Hey, look! Hey, Slab City. That's about like an hour and a half north or south of where I live right now, so that's not too far away. But as I do have to admit, me personally, I don't know what other people have heard about this place, but me personally, I have been told to not go there. As a female, I was told that this place is actually not safe for, I hate to say it, young, pretty women. They're just saying that it's not very safe. There's no laws out here in Slab City. Let's just say it's the place in California that's still kind of the wild, wild west. But there's a lot of homeless people that live here and have pretty much made their hometown here. Is an anarchy community commune.
Is anybody in there? Hey, can I talk to you?
Skid Row.
All right. What's that?
I'm sure you're going to a stadium or an amusement park.
No.
San Jose. So San Jose is a little bit south of Sacramento and San Francisco. So this is probably where they put the homeless people, is right here in San Jose.
What's that? I just want to interview somebody. What? Can I interview you?
Yeah.
So sad. It's so crazy. You just see like the complete opposites, you know? Like from where that homeless guy was to where that beach is right there, that's probably like a 30-minute drive.
There's supposed to be homes.
There's Cal City. See, this is, I was telling you, Cal City is like that little desert town where there's like barely anyone with like one road. That's Cal City right there. It's, and this is where they put a lot of the people in Kern County where, you know, what we just said, over in Bakersfield, where they throw people, the leftovers, you know, the Mr. H. What's up, Mr. H? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. This is, yeah, so this is Cal City. This is where Bakersfield likes to throw their forgotten people when they're done with them.
All up and down this. This was supposed to be a neighborhood. Just never got built. Shopping centers, doctor's offices, coffee shops. Nothing.
Hey, San Bernardino. Yeah, I swear to God, I just saw this street the other day. I think I just went right by here the other day. This is everywhere in San Bernardino. This is pretty much where I live at, is San Bernardino. So yeah, I see this all the time.
Can't believe.
John, good to see you, John. Thanks for coming. We can do better. And then it's just, you know, beautiful peace. And then you've got things like this, you know, Slab City again. Yeah, he's gone everywhere. Like Santa Barbara Pier, San Jose. There's Sacramento. Some more San Bernardino. Oh. Salton Sea. We got some rain and stuff recently, so it's not, you know, dead. Downtown San Diego. It's a bunnies. Oh, that's so cute. See, that just seems like a regular person who is actually homeless. Like, that's, aw. Don Julio, get it. You got Hollywood. Hollywood's wilding out anyway. Yeah, it's just a lot. It's just, you could see one complete difference to the next, you know? It's wild. Anyway. Thank you for that. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. All right, so yeah, this is the story about the Dalai Lama this weekend. People are all in a hoopla and are upset, which they should be, about the Dalai Lama, how he just did some really gross things with a little kid. Peter right here just said, heartbreaking and mind-boggling, Tibetan Buddhist monks and nuns aren't supposed to touch anyone or be touched by anyone. The Tibetan Buddhist Dharma teaching got you off cocaine. Tons of Tibetans are heartbroken right now. Yeah, to see what he did, it looks like a lot of people are really upset and disappointed in him. And then it just really grosses me out to see that his people are like, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. It's okay. He plays. It's fun. So it's gross. I wanted to show this. Like I said earlier, the Dalai Lama was doing some things. Some little kid wanted to come up and give him a hug. He gave him a hug. He lifted it up by his chin, gave him a kiss, stuck out his tongue, said to suck my tongue. Everybody laughed. And now that's what everybody's in a hoopla about. It's gross. It's disgusting. I'm hoping this video, I don't think this video shows actually like what happened, because it's gross. It's disgusting. And I really don't want to show it. So yes, Dharma, sorry. Yes, sorry about that. Lots of homeless people actually work, and the reason they are homeless is because the rent is too damn high. You ain't lying about that one, Robert, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Ukraine took homeless people's money for war. Exactly. All right, so here's the Dalai Lama with the suck my tongue bullcrap. So gross. So the Dalai Lama... you're not going to let me read it. Met with outrage after asking a young boy to suck my tongue at an event in northern India.
So this is a video clip has been circulating that shows a reason.
Oh, hold on. This motherfucker's talking too fast. Oh, because I have it way too fast for this guy. All right, let's put it on normal speed.
That shows a recent meeting with a young boy, asked His Holiness Dalai Lama if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boys and his families, as well as to his many friends across the world for hurt his words many have caused. His Holiness often teases a people he meets in an innocent and playful way. Even in the public, before cameras, he educates the incidents. So that's all. That the office, His Holiness office has already did that one. So it's a part of.
There, see, it's part of a joke. It's part of like a play with a child. That is so disgusting to me. You don't do that. Like, okay. The person I watched for reference about this was Moist Critical. I don't know if you guys know him on YouTube. I love his hair. Oh God, his hair is so beautiful. Anyway, Moist Critical was saying on there, look, imagine, all right, if you have a kid, all right, and you went to church with your kid, all right, and the pastor did that. Like you went up to your pastor or the priest or whatever, and you went up and the pastor like randomly was like, give me a kiss. And you give him a kiss and he sticks out his tongue and he's all, suck my tongue. Would you okay your child to do that with somebody who's in that power? Fuck no. I wouldn't even let my kid do that with some random person on the street. You think I'm going to let him do that with a Dalai Lama? That man is old as shit and my child is innocent. How fucking dare you? And then this guy sits here and says it's part of a joke. It's a play with a child. So you're belittling the fact that the Dalai Lama is a pedo. That's gross. That's disgusting. If you think that that's all it is a play, then there's something wrong in here. You got a ticky ticky boom boom in your head and you need to fix that. It's disgusting. Nobody touches my kids. Sorry. Exactly, Miguel. It's bizarre. It's gross.
It's such a part of like a play with a child. So we should not go more than that.
We should not go more than that. Like, you're going to tell us, Mr. Dalai Lama, whatever PR dude, what we should do, what we should and shouldn't do? No. I don't care. Like, I have respect, like Peter was saying earlier, I have respect for the Tibetan monks, you know, whatever. They do their own thing, minus, you know, any kind of religious stuff. I really enjoy their patience, their meditation, the things like that. You know, some of their teachings are really amazing. I say that even about Christianity. Some of the teachings are really good too. But to allow the leader of whatever it is that you believe there to be able to get away with things like this is just gross. It's just more of that ableism that, like, America does with Christianity and Catholicism and pastors and preachers and stuff. Like, I cannot deal with it. Like, I can't stomach it. I'm sorry. It's gross. It's disgusting. And it makes it even worse in my head because of so many people out here, like, even in America, bringing it back down to America, the conservatives going around saying grooming this, these people are grooming, that people are grooming. When I see, like, just the things that conservatives do, taking their kids to Hooters and taking their kids to these football and basketball games where these cheerleaders are practically wearing nothing. And, it's just, it gets me so goddamn angry. It's like, you learn from your own teachings. Like, when I say like Christianity has a good teaching, when I say that, it's the whole, you don't worry about the finger you're pointing at somebody else, worry about the 3 that are pointing back at you. Like, the Dalai Lama just did the same thing, telling us what we should and shouldn't do and how we should and shouldn't think, because it was just play. No, you don't get to do that. That's our kids. Like, that's a kid. It's gross. It's disgusting. Thanks, Logic Rex. Thanks for coming by. Let's finish okay, so he put up the Dalai Lama, because the Dalai Lama has a fucking Twitter, apparently, because, that's how it goes. Says, a video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. Don't forgive you, sorry. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. He regrets the incident. I don't care. If you've seen the video, you would see that he even thought about it a second before he stuck his tongue out and said those words. He thought about it. It's gross. He did it in public. He got busted. So that's all. That's all it is he got busted and he regrets his actions, because you don't do that naturally with little kids. It's so gross. Like, you could have done anything else other than stick your tongue out and say, suck it. That is gross as shite. It's disgusting. Anything. He could have done anything. Any fucking thing. He could have even done, like, something stupid, like, dumb as shit. You want to, like, I don't know, pull his ear, do like a little magic trick or something with his, with a coin. I don't know anything other than that. So gross. I didn't want to talk too much on that because it is disgusting, but yeah, that's what happened with that. I think it's just, it's crazy to me. So, oh, thanks. You're welcome, Logic. Absolutely. Anytime. I'll be here all week. Okay, now I want to get into the meat and guts of what I wanted to talk about today. So this week, some leaked documents came out. Now, there's like, it's definitely really hard trying to figure it out, whether or not this person's going to be found, and that leaked the documents, found and arrested for Espionage Act. Some people are even saying that this could be something that the CIA has actually controlled to leak, but then it's hard to believe that they controlled it to leak because, publishers like mainstream media, they would have handed it off to them automatically instead of leaving it in, like, I think it was like a Reddit or a Discord server for like a month or something. But it's very interesting to watch and see how this pans out, especially with what's going on today, it being April 11th, the 4-year anniversary of Julian Assange being arrested in the UK and being held there since then, still to this day, with Misty's protest that she did today, or she's doing today at DC about the Free Assange event. This coming out now, it's kind of like, here we go again. Let's see how this plays out. Now, what the national security, like NSA and the White House and stuff, they're saying that the most the stuff that could be threat to a national security, it was the numbers. There was, like, on some of the pictures that were taken of the Ukrainian, whatever it is, like, I don't even know how to say it, like what they plan to do there. There was a numbers in a box where it had said that actually there have been more Ukrainians that have died than Russians, which in our news stream, if you watch our mainstream media news, they say that more Russians have died than Ukrainians. And that's where I have to kind of agree with the video that we're going to be watching with Glenn Greenwald about the whole, we pump up these numbers and boost up these numbers in a false way, balloon these numbers in a false way to get the American people like, oh yeah, we're winning, but it's in actual behind the scenes. The people that are really in control of this wars that are going on are actually like, look, the best we're going to get is a stalemate with this. So we might as well drag on this war as long as we can until it just goes into a stalemate, kind of like what we did with the Vietnam War. And that's what Glenn Greenwald did in this video when he talks about these leaks, is he kind of like set this precedent up at first, you know, this preface up at first to kind of get us into the mindset of what our government already has done before when it comes to these like unending wars, or these wars that we know we're not going to win, even though the government and the media tells us that we do. And it happened in Taiwan. I mean, it happened in oh my God, now I'm going to blank on the fucking country. Sorry, now it's happening in Taiwan. So like I was just watching the news this morning, we're, you know, getting into Taiwan again. So now we're kind of, you know, now that we're seeing that people aren't okay with the Ukraine-Russia war anymore, we're going to just drag it on until it kind of turns into a stalemate and it dies down. But now we're going to ramp up a war with China. So that way we continually keep in a war. So that way these, you know, machines can continually make money. These CEOs of these machines continually make money. I'm blabbing when I should be watching the video about this with you guys. But I kind of wanted to give like a little bit of it's going to show the ad first. Okay, cool. Because it's Rumble. So it's like the only way I can get a hold of this. Yeah, exactly. Like Chinese balloons. Yeah. I didn't say the Dalai Lama was Catholic. I was just kind of religion itself, you know? That's what I was talking about. What's up, Warren? Good to see you. Animal Crossing, there's always the balloons you shoot down in with a slingshot. Oh no, there's Chinese balloons in Animal Crossing? Jesus Christ. The leaks are embarrassing because it exposes the lies that the government is propagating about the UKR. Yeah, exactly. Because they're saying like this is, you know, super secrecy is like those numbers are flubbed. I was telling you the numbers that are ballooned up with how many people have died. But there's also some other stuff in there that people are not even talking about at all, which is the fact that in those documents, the rest of them are released that have, you know, that have been leaked that people aren't being, because it's being shadow banned all over the internet. Like the CIA has been asking Twitter to like shadow ban all publication and release of these documents. But they're saying that which the part that they're not even talking about that's in those documents is the fact that we're spying on everyone, even our own allies. We're spying on them, which, yeah, you know, I guess from what this is where I don't agree with Glenn Greenwald when he goes on about this is where I don't agree with it, is that we shouldn't be spying on people. Yeah, the other people spy on us. So like why? What's the fucking point? Like all we're doing is spying on each other until we all have each other's weapons and shit. And then everybody's going to be at like this never ending stalemate war. Oh, it's gross. I hate this country. I hate this world sometimes.
Rights are being violated. Our constitutional rights are being violated by what the executive
Oh,
branch
wait. I might have to rewind it a little bit because this is where I stopped watching it last night because there's a lot. Here we go.
in private, they were saying exactly the opposite. They were admitting
that
the most of the constraints are needed on war spending by the United States. Now basically says he didn't really mean anything by that. And instead says that it is of the greatest importance that Ukraine and the world win the war against Russia and that the United States must do everything to make that happen. We'll look at those comments from the House Speaker today. As a reminder, System Update is available in podcast version 12 hours after we air live here on Rumble. Simply follow us at System Update on Spotify, Apple, and every other major podcasting platform, and you'll be able to listen to the show that way as well. For now, welcome to a new episode of System Update, starting right now.
That's so funny. All right, here we go.
Large-scale leaks of documents have become really the only way for the American citizenry to learn what their government in general and what the U.S. security state in particular is doing in their name. For decades now, but particularly in the wake of 9/11, the CIA, the FBI, Homeland Security, the NSA have constructed such a large and impenetrable wall of secrecy behind which they operate that characterizes almost everything that they do, that American citizens, even members of Congress, really have very little idea, really no idea, what these agencies are doing in the name of our democracy, except when people inside these agencies decide to leak documents to journalists or others that enable those who get the documents to tell their fellow citizens what their government is doing in their
Huge, really quick on side note, huge shout out to whoever their graphics artists are and like their production people, because man, I love them to death. They mess up so many times in here, but it's so cool to see like they're trying to be like this legit news, but they still got like a couple of amateurs that are learning how to post up the graphics onto the screen. It's so adorable to watch. I actually kind of dig seeing like, you know, the amateurness in the news part of this. I've never sat down and like watched Glenn Greenwald until this video right here last night, and I was like, man, their graphics people need some help. Y'all need some help over there? Hello, I'm looking for a job.
their name. Perhaps the first of these modern day large-scale leaks occurred in 1971 when Daniel Ellsberg, who had worked inside the Defense Department and then for the RAND Corporation with very high levels of secrecy, leaked the Pentagon Papers to the New York Times and the Washington Post. And the purpose of the Pentagon Papers, which was the gigantic volume of top secret classified documents, was not to reveal specific war plans that the United States had in prosecuting its war in Vietnam. Such details were never published either by the papers or by Ellsberg because that wasn't the purpose of the leak. The purpose of the leak instead was to prove to the American people that the government, the Pentagon, and the CIA had been lying to them for over a decade about their views of the Vietnam War in public. Right. Leading Pentagon officials and leading officials of the Johnson administration were telling the public that they believed and in fact knew that the U.S. was on its way to winning the war in Vietnam, that all that was needed was another offensive around the corner, another 10,000 troop call-ups. They were constantly insisting that they were winning the war and believed that they would win. Internally, though,
that's what I was trying to tell you guys right there at the beginning of my little rant, is during the Vietnam War, they were telling the people of America that they're winning. They just need a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that and a little bit more of that. But in where he's about to say right now, behind the scenes, they were like, oh no, there's no way we can win. It has to be a stalemate. Now listen to that though, because it kind of sounds a little similar to what's going on with the Ukraine-Russia war right now. Is Zelensky keeps just asking, can I have a little bit more of that? Can I have a little bit more of that? Can I have a little bit more of that? We're winning the war. We're winning the war. And then these leaked documents come out, and all of a sudden we find out actually Ukraine's losing more people than Russia actually. So
in private, they were saying exactly the opposite. They were admitting that the most that they could hope for was a stalemate, that they would never really be able to conquer Vietnam, to install the rule of the South Vietnamese allies of theirs in North Vietnam, that essentially the most that they could hope for was simply having the war continue on and on and on with no resolution in sight, that the Viet Cong would fight forever, and there was no way American power could be brought to bear to win the war. In other words, they were lying to the American public by telling the American people the exact opposite of what they were saying in private. And Daniel Ellsberg, when he saw that, thought, I know I'm going to go to jail probably for life if I do this, but I, in my good conscience, cannot allow my fellow citizens to continue to believe this lie about the Vietnam War. I need to expose what Pentagon officials are really saying in secret so that Americans can decide whether they want to support this war or not, based not on the lies that were being fed through the media, but based on the truth. And Ellsberg would have gone to...
Which is exactly how this Ukraine-Russia thing should be going on right now. It seriously feels like the same damn thing.
Prison for doing that had it not been for the fact that the Nixon administration broke into his psychoanalyst office to try and steal his psychoanalyst records, to reveal his psychosexual secrets and discredit him and distract attention away from the leaks, which caused the court to rule that that misconduct warranted dismissing the espionage charges against him. But had it not been for that, and Daniel Ellsberg himself says that to this very day, he would have gone to prison for life. It's almost impossible to beat an espionage charge when the United States brings it under the Espionage Act of 1917, which was a law that Woodrow Wilson implemented to criminalize dissent of the U.S.'s participation in that First World War in Europe. Those are the kinds of leaks that illuminate and that allow us to know what the government is doing. Those are the kinds of leaks that WikiLeaks has repeatedly published beginning in 2010, when they revealed the realities of what the United States government was doing in Afghanistan and Iraq, and as well as what its allies around the world were doing, particularly our tyrannical and despotic partners in the Middle East. And it's also what Edward Snowden did when he decided to leak documents to journalists, including myself, not that revealed the names of agents overseas, which none of those documents did, nor to reveal specific plans of how the U.S. was spying on its enemies like China or Al-Qaeda. That was something Snowden was adamant not be disclosed. Instead, it was to reveal to the American people that the NSA, unbeknownst to almost every member of Congress and the American people, was spying not on Al-Qaeda or the Chinese primarily, but instead primarily domestically on our conversations and our telephone calls and our email.
So what he's saying right here is, okay, so I'm trying to keep you guys on this journey with us, because he definitely goes into like different sections to kind of lead up to these leaked documents right here. So what he was saying is like what I was just telling you earlier about the Vietnam War, how they tell us that things are going good, how they're winning, but behind closed doors, they're like, this is just going to be a stalemate. We can't win this, so we might as well just drag it out as long as we can, flub the numbers to make it look like we're winning, so that way the people are American people are manipulated into thinking that we're winning the war and this is a good thing and that we should help them. Kind of the same thing that we're doing with Ukraine, kind of the same thing that we did with the whole 9/11 Iraq stuff in Libya. So it seems like this is what the government has always done. Now what he's getting into is with Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, releasing these documents and what the mainstream media actually shows. So instead of showing what these leakers, when people leak things, they have, full papers of stuff and they say, please, I want the people to know that they're like what Edward Snowden did. I want people to know and to see what the government is doing to, its own people. We're spying on our own people. The NSA is using the Patriot Act to spy on us. That's why we see an overabundance of data collection now, like with the whole TikTok thing, like how we're like, China can't take our data, but us American companies can take our data. Data is like the most important thing. And that's what he released. But when the time came of Edward Snowden releasing those documents, pieces of them got to like the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, these mainstream media news sites. They nitpicked off of that and just showed that the government was spying on other countries, and that can show as a security risk. He's going to agree with the fact that we are allowed to spy on other countries, which I don't really like. I don't like any country spying on any country. But the fact that the news media took, the fact that the government was spying on us, left that out of their reporting and only reported on the parts that Edward Snowden said don't release on, because that's going to put me in trouble, because I don't want this stuff released. That's a security risk. The mainstream media released those parts and got him in trouble. And that's why he's where he is now, so good. Hey, what's up, brother Yona? You got the kiddos to sleep? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So this is where he's getting to the part now of, we just talked about what the government shows to the people, so that way we can keep fighting. And now when it comes to releasing documents and leaks and stuff, how the mainstream media only nitpicks and chooses what it wants to release to show to the people. And it's usually national security threats and not what the person wants to be released anyway.
Mail activities on our browsing records and the like, a program that we were able to expose because Edward Snowden allowed us to do so and was ultimately ruled a violation of the American Constitution and relevant statutes by
go to the bathroom
a
really
Circuit
quick,
Court of Appeals. Those are the kinds of leaks that are constructive and that shed a gigantic light on the U.S. security state, even though they need to be done with care. You don't just dump all the documents onto the internet. WikiLeaks never did that. They redacted documents carefully. We certainly did the same in the Snowden case, we ended up not publishing a majority of the documents, only publishing the ones that were necessary to inform the public debate about what the NSA was doing in secret against their privacy and against people's privacy around the world. So these kinds of leaks are crucial to journalism, because if you don't have them, what you have instead are leading media outlets like the New York Times, the Washington Post, NBC News, CNN, doing the bidding of the US security state. They get secrets passed to them all the time, and they publish those. But they're secrets the CIA wants you to hear. They're the secrets the Pentagon wants you to hear. So it's basically just state media feeding you constantly leaks that seem like they're unauthorized because they come from anonymous sources. So they have that feel of something edgy and radical. But that's all that is feeding you lies and propaganda and deceit that they want to give the veneer of some sort of journalistic achievement to. That's how Russiagate was constantly propagated. The CIA would go to Ken Delaney at NBC News, or Natasha Bertrand, who worked at MSNBC and then worked her way up to The Atlantic and CNN and Politico. She's now at CNN. And every one of their reports would say, intelligence officials tell us. The Washington Post and the New York Times won Pulitzers for that kind of reporting, that in reality was just propaganda on behalf of the US security state. The only counterweight to that is when we get these giant leaks of the kinds I just reviewed that allow us to shed light on what the US security state is doing in secret. Now, there's a current claim that we have a similar leak of that kind, namely a kind where someone inside the US government leaked top secret documents in order to expose secrets of the American government that supposedly are very embarrassing to the American government. And yet there's something extremely strange, many things extremely strange, about this claim that we have a new Snowden-type leak or a new WikiLeaks-type leak or a new Pentagon Papers leak. For one thing, we have no idea who leaked this material. We don't even know the category of person. It's not that we don't know their name. We don't even know where they supposedly worked. We don't have confirmation they worked inside the US government. We have no idea who did that. We also have no idea what the motive is, because they didn't bring these materials to journalists and ask journalists to curate them and report on them, nor did they bring them to places like WikiLeaks, which might be willing to, in a very high profile and prominent way, leak them all or publish them all or most of them. Nor did they publish these documents in a way that would be noticed. They started instead appearing back in.
Oh yeah. Just wait, John. He's about to name drop and put some puzzle pieces together with this new leak and history of releasing leaks. Just wait. This gets good.
For February on very obscure places on the internet, including Discord servers, which are used for people who play video games. They can often be private. The first time they appeared, reportedly, is on a Discord server used only by a dozen people or so. And only from there did they make the leap to more populated forum on the internet. And then only in the last week did they start to appear in places like Telegram and more popular Discord channels. And now the media has noticed them. But there's no guarantee that these would have leaked, nor was there any attempt to direct how they ended up being disclosed or even what kinds of information is being covered. And the way the media is talking about this is very odd. I think raises more questions than it answers. So let's first look at what the media is telling you about this leak. Let's look at some of the documents themselves. We've picked the ones that we think are worth looking at. And then let's try and examine it. So first of all, we have the first story, which is from the New York Times, that we're going to bring up in just a second. There you see it on the screen. It is entitled, How the Latest Leaked Documents Are Different from Past Breaches. That's an article from the New York Times today. Quote, the freshness of the documents, some appear to be barely 40 days old, and the hints they hold for operations to come make them particularly damaging, officials say. This is how the New York Times.
I forgot I was muted. He's about to break down a couple of these mainstream media article pieces, like piece by piece. Like he's about to just break it down like it's a full done puzzle piece and he's just swiping it off the floor. He is about to break it down with a couple of these. I really, really enjoyed how he broke it down with these people.
Times frames so often what they do, they state something and then at the end they add officials say. So they're not really technically affirming the veracity of this claim, but it sounds to the reader as though they are. They're stating something, namely the freshness of the documents, some appear to be barely 40 days old, and the hints they hold for operations to come make them particularly damaging, comma, officials say. So they're not, the New York Times is not saying that. Anonymous officials are, namely U.S. officials want you to believe this, which is why they've told this to the New York Times. This is by David Sanger today. He's a journalist who has all kinds of ties to the CIA, to the U.S. security state. He has spent years, decades, publishing authorized leaks from sources inside the intelligence community. That's what he does. This is what the article says, quote, when WikiLeaks spilled a huge trove of State Department cables 13 years ago, it gave the world a sense of what American diplomats do each day, the sharp elbows, the doubts about wavering allies, and the glimpse of how Washington was preparing for North Korea's eventual collapse and Iran's nuclear breakout. Now, let me just stop there. It is unbelievable to describe the WikiLeaks disclosures that way. He's doing it on purpose to make it seem like it was a completely unjustified and banal leak that didn't really tell you anything about the world other than giving you a, quote, sense of what American diplomats do. This is just the business of diplomats. They throw sharp elbows. They have some doubts about wavering allies. And you got some glimpses about how Washington was preparing for North Korea's eventual collapse and Iran's nuclear breakout. So they pick the things that they know you're fine with the State Department doing in order to make this leak sound like it was something that told you nothing important.
Right. No war crimes, no showing any of that stuff like Hillary Clinton, none of that. No emails, no war crimes, no nothing. What they say is that the American diplomats throw elbows and have doubts about allies that aren't really allies with us, and little snippets about how America is preparing for North Korea's eventual collapse. I'm pretty sure North Korea hasn't collapsed. Are they preparing for it for the future? I wonder if this is like a prediction of theirs. Maybe New York Times is, got like a I don't know, like like a child, like a great grandkid or something, or of Nostradamus, and they can see the future. I don't know, but North Korea hasn't collapsed, so I don't understand how they keep thinking that but anyway. And then Iran's nuclear breakout, which we all know about Iran and the nuclear stuff, so I don't know what to believe anymore. That's why we've got to really pay attention and get really down into the nitty-gritty. Watch everybody, even mainstream media. We watch CNN, MSNBC, and then Fox. And then you go into more of the lower people. You're not lower people, but, like less mainstream news, more independent news, but still kind of, legitimate. You got like Glenn Greenwald and some other people, and then you go even lower to figure out those are in like The Hill and Breaking Points, and then you go even lower than that to people to see what regular people are saying. We've got to find out all of it, everything, because we're just especially with this happening, all this stuff happening right now, with it being the 4-year anniversary of Julian Assange being arrested. Like, this is I don't know. It seems too coincidental for me to just kind of forget about it.
But at the same time was incredibly dangerous. Now, this eventual collapse of North Korea, I don't think we have that yet. This is 13 years later. So there's no collapse of North Korea. Maybe eventually means 100 years from now. And Iran has not broken out in the sense that it has nuclear weapons. Nobody claims that. But these are things that you would want the government to be doing, and that's why the New York Times purposely described the WikiLeaks releases in this way, to make you think these WikiLeaks releases told you nothing but endangered the public. In reality, the exact opposite was true. They revealed all kinds of secrets about tens of thousands of people, innocent civilians that the United States government, the military had killed.
Steve, even me and Joe Rogan, everybody. Listen to everybody.
They had revealed a video showing the U.S. government, the U.S. military gunning down innocent people, including journalists who work for...
Y'all are like, fuck no. We gonna get Case Study QV to do all the work for us. I'm here for it too. I know I need to start putting some more case study QB stuff in here. But yeah, what's weird is like I know I'm following him on Twitter, but I swear like most of his stuff that he posts, I never see it on my Twitter feed. Like it never comes up on my Twitter feed. And I never think about like going and looking for case study QB until I see somebody else on their show using him. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't have to watch this shit. I can just get case study QB to do it and then just go into his thing and give him the credit for it. Yeah, you're goddamn right. You right. I know. I put myself through the torture and I watch this stuff because I like to yell at my phone. So
Reuters, when they were on the ground and scrambling to try and leave, they revealed widespread and rampant corruption among all kinds of U.S. allies in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and Jordan and Egypt, and all kinds of lies about a whole range of issues that the U.S. government told the public. But it's bizarre, although not really, that David Sanger, who's an ally of this intelligence services, would start off his article trying to demean WikiLeaks' releases, knowing Julian Assange is in prison. This is the way that a CIA agent who hates Julian Assange would describe those releases, not the way a journalist would. So already you know that he's surveying here an agenda that is the U.S. security state's agenda. That's what he always does, but this is the first clue. Now, here's the second one. This article, this paragraph enrages me. It's full of lies, as I will document in a minute once I show you what this article says about these new leaked documents, but I nonetheless want to note it now. He's now moving on to the Snowden leaks, and this is what he says about the Snowden leaks. When Edward Snowden swept up the NSA's secrets 3 years later, Americans suddenly discovered the scope of how the digital aid had ushered in a remarkable new era of surveillance by the agency. This is what he says the NSA Snowden reporting revealed. Enabling the NSA to pierce China's telecommunication industry and to drill into Google's servers overseas to pick up foreign communications. So in David Sanger's telling, the only thing the Snowden reporting did was reveal that the NSA was spying on China, something that every American would be okay with them doing, and drilling into Google servers to pick up foreign communications, which most people would probably be fine with as well. That's a complete lie.
Exactly, Desert. Exactly. If the WikiLeaks were this banal, then the NSC would not be chomping at the bit to get their hands on Julian Assange. They did the same thing with Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden literally released the fact that we were spying on Americans. The government was spying on us. Domestic people, all right, domestic spying. But what does New York Times add into its little like explanation of the leaks now when they use Edward Snowden as like, a preface for it? They're saying that all that Edward Snowden released was it enabled piercing China's telecommunications and then getting into the Google servers overseas, like in China, to pick up foreign communications. So telecommunications and foreign communications. So communications, Google servers and servers in China and stuff like that. Like that's what they're saying that Edward Snowden releases, the fact that we're spying on China and other countries for their communications. Wow, right? Exactly, John. Wow. That's insane. Yeah, exactly, Jonas. Mansplain it to me, Uncle Sam. That is such a good saying. I like that a lot. Mansplain it more, Uncle Sam. Whoo. Yeah, more like super spying on us. But this is what the Washington or the New York Times will put up as the example of Edward Snowden's document release of his releases and stuff. This is what we did. We just got caught spying on China, not on our own people. So frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Crux of
That's why I'm glad I have animals, because they keep me sane. Never mind. I had to say they keep me sane, and then the little bitch starts acting like this. Great timing. Great timing, lady. Good timing.
The Snowden reporting showed how the NSA was spying on the conversations of American citizens, the telephone activities of Americans, to the point that courts were able to rule them unconstitutional, as I said earlier. But again, if you work for the NSA, this is what you would want people to think the Snowden reporting was about. He's counting on the fact that it's been 10 years and people don't remember. So he's just rewriting history. And I will show you that the only people who ever revealed any secrets about how the NSA spies on China is the New York Times itself, not any of the other journalists who actually worked with Edward Snowden. So we'll get to that in a minute. Now, they go on, the New York Times does. The cache of 100 or so newly leaked briefing slides of operational data on the war in Ukraine is distinctly different. The data revealed so far is less comprehensive than those vast secret archives, but far more timely. Now, I'm not sure that that's even true. There were Snowden documents that we began reporting on in June that were only 3 months old. Snowden gave us the archive only a couple months before we began reporting. There were some that were only 2 or 3 months old. So that's not even true anyway. And it is the immediate salience of the intelligence that worries White House officials and Pentagon officials. Some of the most sensitive material, maps of Ukrainian air defenses, and a deep dive into South Korea's secret plans to deliver 330,000 rounds of much-needed ammunition in time for Ukraine's spring counteroffensive is revealed in documents that appear to be barely 40 days old. It is the freshness of the, quote, secret and top secret documents and the hints they hold for operations to come that make these disclosures particularly damaging, administration officials say. On Sunday, Sabrina Singh, a Pentagon spokeswoman, said U.S. officials had notified congressional committees of the leak and referred the matter to the DOJ, which has opened an investigation. The 100-plus pages of slides and briefing documents leave no doubt about how deeply enmeshed the United States is in the day-to-day conduct of the war, providing the precise intelligence and logistics that help explain Ukraine's success thus far. While President Biden has barred American troops from firing directly on Russian targets and blocked sending weapons that could reach deep into Russian territory, the documents make clear that a year into the invasion, the United States is heavily entangled in almost everything else. Did we not know that yet?
Right.
That the United States is heavily involved in the war in Ukraine with everything except combat troops on the ground? I mean, the Biden administration boasts of how much it's done for Ukraine. Republican members of Congress, including Kevin McCarthy today, demanded that the Biden administration do everything possible to ensure Ukraine wins this war. So what exactly here is it that these documents have revealed that are so bothersome to the United States? Nothing really. I mean, you can look at them in a certain way and say, well, the United States doesn't want it known how they have special services stationed and deployed in Ukraine. And there are some documents that reveal how the U.S. government even spies on its own allies, something that was widely known during the Snowden reporting. You may recall that a major controversy erupted between the United States and Germany when it was reported, not as part of the Snowden files, but a different source, that the United States is spying under Angela Merkel, and Obama had to call her and apologize, and she compared the United States to the Stasi of the East Germans, where she grew up in East Germany. So, and there was a similar diplomatic scandal between the United States and Brazil when we did report, based on the Snowden materials, that the Obama administration was spying on the personal cell phone call of Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff, the Brazilian oil company Petrobras, all kinds of economic conferences. So all of this has been known for a long time. So I don't even feel like, let alone can point to anything specific that makes this seem like it's the kind of leak like the Pentagon Papers or the Snowden reporting or WikiLeaks that is really bothersome to the United States in the sense that it would cause scandal and disrepute for American leaders. The Pentagon Papers showed that the American government lied to the American people about the war in Vietnam for a decade. The Snowden reporting showed that the U.S. government was spying on its own citizenry in violation of the Constitution and the law. WikiLeaks showed all kinds of hidden war crimes. What do these documents show that are similar to that would really be upsetting and destabilizing to the United States?
Right. What is so big about these documents?
We keep hearing that they're like those other cases. We keep hearing from the U.S. government about how disturbing this leak is. That I haven't really seen anything in these documents yet that would be comparable. Let's look at NBC News's version of events. Of course, it's very similar because we're talking to the same people and serving the same agenda. Quote, leak secret Pentagon documents lift the lid on U.S. spying on Russia's war in Ukraine. NBC News obtained more than 50 of the leaked documents, many of them labeled top secret. I love how they say they obtained them as though this is their story, this is their work, when they're all over the internet. Everyone can just get them. That's all they did, was they obtained them, not by having sources that gave them to them, but just going on the internet like everybody else and looking at them. They have 4 journalists on this story, including Ken Delanian, who's notorious for serving the agenda of the CIA.
Another name drop.
And there you see the framing, which is very similar to The New York Times, this is what they say, quote, dozens of leaked Defense Department classified documents posted online reveal details of U.S. spying on Russia's war machine in Ukraine and secret assessments of Ukraine's combat power, as well as intelligence gathering on America's allies, including South Korea and Israel. NBC News obtained more than 50 of the leaked documents, many of them labeled top secret, the highest level of classification. The documents first appeared online in March, and a senior U.S. official said Saturday that the government's, quote, working theory is that they are real, although some of them could have been altered. Does the United States government, if these are government documents taken right from the files of the Pentagon or the intelligence community, they can't know whether they're real? They only have a working theory that they are real? Of course they can look in their own files and know. The full impact of the leak remains unclear. I would say so. But it could represent the most serious breach of U.S. intelligence secrets since a contractor for the NSA, Edward Snowden, passed on thousands of classified documents to journalists about U.S. electronic surveillance in 2013. In this case, the scale of the disclosure is much smaller, much, much smaller, involving dozens instead of thousands of documents. The documents include repeated references to information based on secret signals intelligence, electronic eavesdropping, a crucial pillar of U.S. intelligence gathering, a former U.S. intelligence...
A crucial pillar of U.S. intelligence gathering, electronic eavesdropping. So, you know, whenever they go around and say Russia and China are spying on us and our elections and everything else, just remember, we do electronic eavesdropping. That is a crucial pillar of U.S. intelligence gathering, just so you know.
Official said the disclosure of some signals intelligence reporting about Russia and its spy agencies could cause significant damage if Moscow is able to cut off those sources of information. So, again, I see a lot of speculation about how this leak could be very damaging, but I don't see any specific revelations that are causing any problems for Joe Biden or the Biden White House,
right,
or any leaders of America's foreign policy or its defense and intelligence communities. Do you? I don't.
No, because all I've seen so far is some numbers being flubbed, where Russia's actually has less people that are dying than Ukraine. And of course, like, he's even going to say it later on too. I feel like I'm just repeating what he's about to say. But he even says it himself that Ukraine doesn't have, like, it's not like a regular war where people are volunteering. They pretty much have a draft over there. They're forcing their people to go to war, where people aren't wanting to go to war anymore. They don't want to fight. They don't want to die in this war. So they've got drafts too, you know? They're drafting their people.
Don't. That has led, that fact, some in the region in Ukraine, including some Ukrainian officials, some Russian officials, some prominent journalists in the region, to speculate that this might actually be a disinformation campaign by the United States to demoralize Russia, because a lot of it claims that Russia is suffering in the war, that Russia might even be losing the war. And by letting people in Russia, including potential troops, think this is a real leak from the United States government that shows intelligence that Russia is suffering grave losses in the war, it could be an attempt to demoralize the Russians. That is possible. I'm not at all affirming that that's true. But I do, again, think it's odd that U.S. intelligence officials are so hell-bent on claiming to the public that these documents are real and that they're very damaging. They go right to their favorite reporters to do that. David Sanger at the New York Times, Ken Delaney at the NBC News. There were media outlets that always serve their agenda and write down whatever they tell them to say. As I just showed you, they did duly and loyally. But I don't actually see anything that is so disturbing. Now, The Economist today has an article, quote, a leak of files could be America's worst intelligence breach in a decade. You see, they're all using similar languages, but they have a paragraph that called my attention because it supports that hypothesis that I just expressed that others in the region are claiming, namely that it's actually intended to suggest that the Russians are losing the war, to embolden European governments to continue to provide aid and encourage the American public to be willing to do so as well. This is what this paragraph says from The Economist, quote, however, the leaked documents hardly paint a rosy view of Russia's armed forces. Though it has devastated the eastern city of Bakhmut, the situation there was, quote, catastrophic by February 28th, according to Ukraine's military intelligence chief, who was quoted in one report. Its combat power is crippled. America's Defense Intelligence Agency reckons that 35 to 43,000 Russian troops have died, twice the number of Ukrainian casualties, with over 154,000 wounded, around 40 times the Ukrainian figure. The agency acknowledges that these numbers are ropey. Russia has lost more than 2,000 tanks and now fields only 419, quote, in theater. Another slide says that Russia's, quote, grinding campaign of attrition in the east is, quote, heading toward a stalemate, and that the result is likely to be a protracted war beyond 2023. So get ready. We're being told through these scary, unauthorized documents that Russia cannot win this war, that they're heading toward a stalemate, and we should expect a, quote, protracted war beyond 2023, and that's what the Russians are to understand as well. Now,
why do I keep doing that to myself? Somebody in the comment tell me muted because I fucked up. I know. And I think there's it's like a 30-second lag to what you guys are saying to what I'm saying. So I don't even see like the muted until like I'm partially back into the other thing, like going back into the video. Sorry about that. I'm muted. Oh my God. Now I just forgot what I was going to say and talk about. Oh no. Oh yeah, what they're saying. Okay. So instead of actually going, because most people when they, read, mainstream media news, they're not going to go out and look for these documents. They're going to read what people are telling them, especially the mainstream media news. Most of these people that, if you read like the Washington Journal and stuff like that, you have to be able to subscribe and pay for it monthly. So you're paying it, so you're going to read it every day. And so they're telling you, this mainstream media people are telling you what they think is in, or what they say is in the documents, these leaked documents, that Russia is actually losing, that this can't go, Russia's losing a whole bunch of people, more people than Ukraine, and that it's going to a stalemate. That's what they're saying these documents are saying. But what we're going to actually see, just a little piece, like I think it was like, I don't think it was on Glenn Greenwald, though. I think it was on Breaking Points. It might be on Breaking Points, where the actual numbers are flipped. It's showing that the Ukraine is actually losing more people than the Russians are losing. So, but if you watch, if you read The Economist, if you read Wall Street Journal and all of those mainstream newspapers and stuff, they're going to tell you that they're part of it. Of it's going to be a stalemate. These leaks are going to say it's a stalemate, but Russia's losing, and but they're not. They're not losing. They're actually winning.
More than 2,000 tanks and now fields only 419, quote, in theater. Another slide says that Russia's, quote, grinding campaign of attrition in the war,
there we go,
that they're heading toward a stalemate, and we should expect a, quote, protracted war beyond 2023, and that's what the Russians are to understand as well. Now, I'm not at all suggesting this was a disinformation campaign planted by U.S. operatives. I'm genuinely not suggesting that. But I'm also not ready to buy into this narrative that the media is feeding us at the behest of the intelligence community, that these documents are confirmed to be authentic and they're somehow so destabilizing to the U.S. government. Let's look at the ones that would most plausibly be described as damaging to the U.S. government. These are the ones the media is touting. Now, here is a document that purports to show that NATO countries have special forces deployed to specific parts of Ukraine, and it actually details the specific countries that have special forces in Ukraine, including the United States, and purports to show their location. Again, we're not showing you anything that hasn't been all over the internet and that isn't being talked about in every journalistic outlet. So here you see on the
right. Don't come after me either. I'm showing this off of. That's why I'm showing it off of Glenn Greenwald. That I did not pull these up myself. This is his show. I'm just showing what he's showing. So yeah, don't come after us either over here, American government. Woo.
The side. Let me just highlight that for you here, right here. The number of NATO special forces in Ukraine. And there you see it says the U.S. has 14,000, Great Britain has 50,000, France 15,000, Latvia 17,000. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 14,000, it's 14 units or 14 special forces. Germany 50, France 15, Latvia 17, the Netherlands 1 for a total of 97. And it purports here to show their locations in terms of what their bases are in those native countries. And I guess that's supposedly something that's supposed to be incriminating to the United States as though people didn't know that the U.S. likely has covert operations in Ukraine. Of course they do. We've given them all kinds of weapons they can't operate on their own. It's been repeatedly reported that we give them real-time intelligence on the ground that they use to target Russian forces with.
I mean, even like, okay, so yeah, I mean, there is the fact that this could just be the government releasing this, it is like an operation to mislead us into other things and stuff. But if this is like some kind of real leak and stuff, I mean, just think about it. Like, look at all of these special forces here in Ukraine, okay? And then you've got a couple of these countries right here. This red area is Russia. You got these couple of countries right here. I can't read what they are. I probably could bring up the Google Maps. But what I really want to bring up is like Finland right here. This whole area right here just joined NATO. So we've got this in NATO. We've got all these in NATO. Like, it's just completely surrounding Russia. It's crazy. And now we've got this on the ground war right here. Like, Jesus Christ.
Activate their air defenses. It would be almost impossible for us not to have U.S. Special Forces on the ground. In fact, early in the war, one of the reasons the Biden administration gave for why it wouldn't provide some of these weapon systems to Ukraine is because they couldn't be operated without having Special Forces on the ground to show them how to do it and help them do that. Now, we've given those systems to them. They're in use in theater. So, of course, everybody already knew that Special Forces were on the ground in Ukraine. So if this is the
Okay, there's another thing that I didn't realize. We promised that we didn't have any special forces on the ground in Ukraine, but here's actually, the Joint Staff's daily update for the Ukraine war showing how many actually countries have special forces on the ground. We have 14 special units on the ground with these people. After we've been giving them these weapons, so of course we need to go there and train them on how to use these weapons. What do you expect the government to do? Just hand these weapons off and sell these weapons and expect Ukraine to just kind of guess what they do? No. More people need to make more money out there. These rich people need to buy another yacht. So they're going to send, the government's going to send their special forces, and that way more people can make more money. It just, so corrupt. Ban this stream. What's up, more bones?
revelation that's supposed to be so incriminating to the Biden administration. I would suggest, again, this leak is nothing of the kind.
Don't give me any ideas, all right? I'm already pushing it right now. I'm pushing it. I'm scared.
Virtually everyone in Washington, with the exception of 7 dozen Republicans or so, supports this policy. As we're about to show you, Kevin McCarthy, the Republican House Speaker, came out today and basically said exactly that. We need to do everything we can to ensure Ukraine wins the war. No one in Washington is going to care that we have special forces in Ukraine. That's an open secret.
Jimothy, I fucking hate you.
Shocking revelation of the kind of Daniel Ellsberg or WikiLeaks or Snowden. Here is a second document that suggests different ways that Israel might provide lethal aid to Ukraine. Israel has been very reluctant.
It's so horrible. Normally people be like, it's just Jimothy. It's like no big deal. But I swear every time I hear Jimothy, it reminds me of Jimmy and Timmy, which were like the two, disabled guys in South Park. And oh man, I fucking hate it because, okay. So when I was 18, I was dating my oldest daughter's father. So it was before I got pregnant and stuff. This is when we were dating. My name is Jimmy. His name was Timmy. So people called us like the R-word couple when I was like 18 when we were dating, and it was horrible. And so Jimothy just like brings them back. Like I'm the disabled guys in South Park, but it's just me now. Jimothy, yeah, I know. It's absolutely crazy. Great. Jimothy, yeah. Oh man, thank you for the laugh. Yeah, Jimmy and Timmy, you remember that? That shit was ridiculous. I should have never dated a guy named Tim ever. It was a horrible move on my part. Absolutely horrible move on my part. All right, there you go. We got our laugh in for the day. Oh, I'm almost done with today. Good lordy. Okay. This one is saying that it has pathways to providing lethal aid to Ukraine. So like they're like daily documents, is pretty much what it is. I wanted to show because Crystal and Sagar. I really am starting to like Sagar a lot more. Like, not like, a lot more or anything like that, but it has been like he has come up with a lot better stuff than what she's coming up with for sure. But I think it was them that showed the numbers. I really want to show like one of the documents showed the numbers being screwed up, and I don't know where it is. So like this is the thing that everybody's showing is this like New York Times article, whatever, because I think it's got the pictures in it or something, maybe. I'm not sure. But that's like what people are showing and reading. Man, where the hell is it here? Oh, yep. Okay. So it is Glenn Greenwald that showed it. I want to get to this part before the show is over because they are flubbing numbers, like for sure, like legit ass flubbing numbers.
As Russians. This document here, the version that ended up online, purports to show that, in fact, Ukraine has suffered 5 times more killed in action. There you see it's something like 4 times more. Sorry, something like 65 or 61 to 71,000 troops, whereas the Russians are estimated to have lost 16 to 17,000. This is the document they claim has been altered, that the original one shows double the number of Ukrainian troops killed. Again, the fact that Ukraine is losing a huge number of people in this war is well known. In fact, Zelensky recently again had to increase the penalties for desertion because Ukrainian men actually don't want to fight in this war. They know they're being used as
That's a
cannon
good one,
fodder.
Yona.
So while Kevin McCarthy and Joe Biden and Bill Kristol, 71,000 troops, whereas the Russians are estimated to have lost 16 to 17,000. This is the document they claim has been altered, that the original one shows double the number of Ukrainian troops killed. Again, the fact that Ukraine is losing a huge number of people in this war is well known. In fact, Zelensky recently again had to increase the penalties for desertion because Ukrainian men actually don't want to fight in this war. They know they're being used as cannon fodder. So while Kevin McCarthy and Joe Biden and Bill Kristol and David Frum feel proud and strong because we're fighting this glorious war, the people who are actually dying in the war and fighting in the war as usual don't actually want to be fighting and dying in this war. They're being forced to. Zelensky's using a conscript army, not a volunteer one. So if this, again, is the most incriminating document or the most destabilizing document, again, I just don't find this leak particularly threatening to the United States government. I find it very odd that they're insisting through their media outlets that they manipulate and control that it is. I can see how these documents might concern Russia and Russians and Russian troops by claiming that this whole thing is a stalemate. They're never going to win. They have to fight at least another year throughout 2023. I can see how that would be beneficial to convincing the American public to get ready for another $100 billion in authorizations to support this war beyond 2023, as this document says. I just don't see what is supposedly so scandalous about this from the perspective of the CIA, the Pentagon, or the Biden White House. And in fact, there is no scandal being generated by these documents, even though we keep being told it's the most damaging leak.
That to me seemed like the biggest scandal of all, is the flubbing of numbers and how we used to do the same thing in Vietnam War. So, I mean, I'm hoping if anybody reads the documents and can find something else. But to me, so far from what I've seen, it just seems like the number flubbing is what is like the biggest, secrecy that could be, and it could be a national, I mean, for them at least, it could be a national security thing, because that could really, for the mindset of Americans, really deter us from, at least hopefully, deter other people like the blue and yellow flag motherfuckers out there, to deter them from wanting to keep this war going. If they see that Russia's actually winning, they've got, a lot more people than Ukraine does. So I'm pretty sure, they were going to have, Ukraine is losing a lot more people than Russia is. And Russia's going to continue just drafting motherfuckers into their war too. Cause that's a big ass country. They can draft some motherfuckers. All right. But Ukraine, and I'm hoping with this as well, people find out like what Glenn Greenwald says. And so I'm going to repeat it. And I'm hoping other people start repeating it as well, is that Ukraine has a draft right now. Those people are not wanting to fight the war, and they're dying in these wars. They're not wanting to. They are being drafted. And then from what I've been hearing is that Zelensky just upped the ante on the punishment for people who run, who bail AWOL. So they have a draft right now. They're being forced. These regular ass people are being forced to have to go into war, and then also Zelensky's like releasing like Nazi prisoners to go fight in the front lines and shit too. So he's just, Zelensky doesn't care about its people. He just wants to do what the West wants him to do. So that way he can go and buy another yacht for him and his wife as well. He wants to be a part of the in crowd. That's exactly what it feels like is going on. What it seems like. And I personally would say that that's a scandal. And I hope that the American people at least read that part in the document and maybe start opening their mind to seeing what's really going on and how ridiculous this war is and how pointless it is. It's so dumb. Let's finish watching this.
In at least a decade. Now, I mentioned earlier, I do want to show you this because it's just such a perfect example of how the New York Times lies all the time. I showed you that paragraph. You know what? Let me look at that again. I want to just pull that paragraph up again.
There you go.
This is how they described the Snowden reporting. This is what they wanted you to think about what Edward Snowden, the reporting from Edward Snowden revealed. This is the David Sanger article. Quote, when Edward Snowden swept up the NSA's secrets 3 years later, meaning 3 years after the WikiLeaks disclosures, Americans suddenly discovered the scope of how the digital age had ushered in a remarkable new era of surveillance by the agency. So we learned a remarkable new era of surveillance. What did they spy on? This is what the New York Times says, quote, enabling it to pierce
just watched
China's telecommunication industry.
Oh, no, he's going over it
tap
again.
Into, it was only about how they spied on China and how they spied on foreign nationals and not what it was actually about, which is NSA spying on Americans. And it wasn't just that they were spying on Americans. The highest court to rule on it, ruled that spying was unconstitutional, that it violated your constitutional rights. Quote, NSA surveillance exposed by Snowden was illegal. Court rules 7 years on. That's from The Guardian in 2020, reporting on a ruling from the Court of Appeals that surveillance program I just showed you that we exposed, that domestic spying was in violation of the Constitution. Here's what The Guardian reported about that ruling. Quote, 7 years after the former NSA contractor Edward Snowden blew the whistle on the mass surveillance of Americans' telephone records, an appeals court has found that program was unlawful and that the U.S. intelligence leaders who publicly defended it were not telling the truth. Why would the New York Times just lie about what this reporting showed? Now, let me just remind you of what actually happened here, because it really sheds light into how these corporate media outlets behave when it comes to working with the intelligence services that they serve. The only people who ever had the full NSA archive that Edward Snowden provided that to when he met with us in Hong Kong were myself and the documentarian Laura Poitras, who ended up directing Citizen4 about our work in Hong Kong that won the Oscar in 2015. That's it. Along the way, two newspapers, the Washington Post and the New York Times, got a portion of the archive. They never had the full archive. Each of them had a separate portion of the archive. And they used it in a way completely contrary to Edward Snowden's instructions. When he gave us that archive, he told us very explicitly, I don't want you...
The story I was telling you guys about earlier, about when Edward Snowden released his documents, he said, please don't share this certain parts because this is national security threat. These two mainstream journal companies got a hold of the documents and released exactly what Edward Snowden asked them not to release. So yeah, that's that part. He starts going off into the, like I was telling you earlier, John, he starts name dropping. So like Nicole Peralth, is one of them. And then David Sanger. So if you ever see any articles and stuff being written in anywhere and they have to do with whistleblowing or leaking and document leaking and things like that, and it's written by David E. Sanger or Nicole Peralth, Perelroth. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Anyway, if you see him written by that usually means that it's by the CIA. These two actually work with the CIA and get talking points for them to be able to release them to the mainstream publications for people to read and be manipulated by. So don't ever be manipulated. David E. Sanger and Nicole Perelroth. That person. When and where did Greenwald release his copy of the archive, if ever? Asking for a friend. That's a good question. I have no idea. I don't know. During that time when all that stuff was like WikiLeaks was being released and stuff, I was more into the Hillary Clinton emails. So that's pretty much what I was reading through all the time. I didn't go and watch like news people during that to get my information. I just went to the actual WikiLeaks page itself and just started reading everything. I would put like Hillary Clinton and then read all of them, or Hillary Clinton's dude. Somebody said it in the comments section earlier. I would look up his name and read all that stuff. I really got into like a really deep dark hole, like the Pizzagate and all of that stuff, you know, with him and those politicians that go along with it. There was like that Wiener guy. Oh man, there was definitely a rabbit hole when it came to all of that WikiLeaks and Hillary Clinton's emails and John Podesta, that's his name, and Anthony Weiner and Pizzagate. Man, it was brutal. It was a lot. It was really a lot. Very mentally hard to deal with. So yeah. I don't know what Glenn Greenwald was doing during that time. The president's leaking and needs a fresh change. Very true. Jennifer Bilek, investigative journalist following the money to transhumanist billionaires behind the transgender movement that began 10 years ago. Big pharma, big med, big media, big tech, big banks. All right. Podesta files. Yeah, you remember that, Yona? Oh my God. That was so crazy. All of that stuff that came out. Man, that was a lot. Just everything. It got really deep. It got really, really deep. All right. I got 5 more minutes until the show ends. I have my big brother from England is going to be getting a hold of me and calling me in about 10 or 15 minutes. So I need to get ready for that call. Going to be a fun day. I get to talk to my brother. I'm so excited. I haven't talked to him in like a year and a half. So if you guys want to continue watching this, I will put the Anthony Weiner is a weenie. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to put the rest of this Rumble piece video with Glenn Greenwald into the comments section. That way you guys can watch the rest of it as well. He definitely, just remember there's a bigger picture about this whole thing. He definitely like bounces back and forth. I think if you get stoned and you watch him for like the rest of the time that he talks about it, it's a little bit easier to kind of keep up with what he's doing. Cause like I said, he bounces around a lot, but if you're stoned, you can kind of bounce around with him to keep up with what he's going with, and what the bigger picture is what he's meaning and trying to say to you guys by this leak. There's quite a few people that are talking more about it. I definitely will be keeping my eye out for more stuff being leaked out from it today and seeing what else I can hear about it. And I'll probably talk about it some more tomorrow. So let's see, what do I got tomorrow? I mean, obviously I'll be back tomorrow again from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm so not used to the Eastern time. It's so weird. Okay. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if Warren and I are going to be doing our show on Friday or Saturday or what's going to happen. I know Friday is our 1-year anniversary of the secret show, so I think he's wanting to do it on Friday. I'm not sure. I think we're still trying to figure that out. But so we'll be doing that this weekend. I'm trying to figure out. I want to bring on Marcus. Marcus wants. He said like invite him on anytime. So I've really been like thinking hard of like, all right, I want to bring on Marcus Cage from the Political Matrix. Like absolutely want to bring him on. But I want to make sure I've got really good things to talk about, because I do want to pick his brain really bad on certain things. But like, I feel like the things that I want to pick his brain on are too, like at face value, they're not deep enough to where So I want to make sure I've got everything together and like exactly what I want to talk about with him and figure out what, like picking his brain with that kind of stuff. So I will be bringing Marcus on at some point, hopefully within the next week or two. So I'm excited about that. Yona, obviously you're invited on whenever you like to. I love it. I think I want to do like a once a month, like history corner with brother Yona or something where we learn about something in history that has to do with today. I think that would be really fun. Yona is just full of knowledge. Definitely he's super inspiring and I really love to learn from him. I always learn something when I'm with him. So, and I really, that's like my goal every day when I wake up is to learn at least one thing. So that's why I love Brother Yona for that. Russell Brand is a trusted source with a track record of being honest. Stay free. Thanks for the lift. Yeah, I do enjoy Russell Brand a lot. What's really funny is that's super funny that you say that. Hysterically historical with Hyona. Oh my God. That's good. That is fucking good. I like that. All right. We're going to talk about this. I want to do that. That sounds like fun. The roundtable show. Shane is going to get ready to do something like that. So Shane is pretty much like the owner of KRDD. He wants to get back into doing shows again. He's awesome. He's just this, young little kid, still full of hopes and dreams. It's adorable to watch. He wants to do like a roundtable type show. So back here on KRTD. So we're going to get him started with something like that. That's going to be a lot of fun. He really enjoys panel shows and things like that and interviewing people and candidates and stuff like that. And we're about to get into the election season. So definitely roundtable shows coming up here with us very, very soon. But with the Russell Brand thing. So it's so funny. I was just telling my friend the other day, I was like, yo, like if I could imagine how like my perfect person would be, when it comes to like how I believe in the world and politics and humans and life and everything like that. Like if you could make, man, I'm totally going to like make people hate me because one of them is, it's still a little iffy. Like, okay. So like a lot of things recently that Jon Stewart. So like if Jon Stewart and Russell Brand fucked and they had a baby and that person grew up to think just like those two, I think that would be as close to a person. Maybe I might be trepidating on a little bit of Marianne Williamson territory there. I might be a little bit, but I don't know. There's just something about, humanism and connection and living in harmony with people right along with telling the rich to their face that they fucking suck at the same time. So that's what I really enjoy. I like those two together. Like if they got together, that'd be really cool. Anyway, I know I probably just like lost some friends with that, but that's okay. I'm up for debate and I'm up for learning about other people too and different things. So your two dads. Oh God, that's great. I'm all red now. I embarrassed myself. I'm done embarrassing myself. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. It's 3:01. My brother's gonna be calling me soon, so I gotta get out of here. So I will talk at you all later. Thank you all for coming. I will see you tomorrow, and I hope you all have a really, really good rest of your day. And can't wait to see you guys again. All right, peace.